It would now be a great time to call those numbers.
What is up, guys? It is the sports nerd Bradley Walker, and welcome to the Walker Report, part of NGSC Sports, guys. Remember the website, it's ngscsports.com for all your current sports content. Again, I am a writer for NGSC, so head over there and take a gander at my articles. We are also part of the Game Winner Sports Network, Mancini Media, the Snowman Multimedia Sports, and the Sports Alliance of America. Welcome in, guys. Again, happy Thursday. This is the show after the draft. We will have our man Jeff Barnes on next week. I have been in contact with him. We'll have him on next week to talk about the draft. So we have a lot of other things we can talk about this evening, and we can avoid all the draft stuff until next week. We can talk to Jeff about what he thought about, of course, the 8th pick overall by the Atlanta Falcons. So we could talk about that next week. But anyway, guys, welcome in, guys. And for Christ almighty, it's May already, guys. The year is flying by quickly. Before I start the show, I want to extend prayers to our co-host, Gerald. I know his wife is still battling in a hospital. I also want to give my thoughts and prayers to my boss, George Barrios. He lost his mom today. She passed away. So I want to give him a little shout out on the show every once in a while. He pops in here, so I want to give him a shout out this evening because fortunately I know how that feels. It's not a great club to be a part of, but I know how that feels. Anyway, guys, Gerald won't be here this week. Again, he's taking care of his wife. Let me bring on my other two great co-hosts. Good evening, gentlemen.
Thank you, Bradley. Good evening. Ed? Oh, there he is.
Good evening.
How's it going?
I try at least.
Yes.
How's everybody? How's everything in Tennessee and New Jersey?
Hey, hot. It's starting to get warm. It's early May.
Yeah.
It's 91 here, buddy. So
it was 83 for it was 83 for a high this afternoon.
Yeah, we
I ate pizza. I just went and picked up a pizza. I ain't cooking.
That's what I had dinner too. I had pizza too, so I had frozen pizza. But yeah.
I scooped up at Caesar's on the way home.
There you go. Nothing wrong with that. They have the best deal going on anyway, so why not?
Yeah. I mean, if I can't, I got one local joint that I love, and if I can't get it from there, I pretty much just get Caesar's, unless they're closed.
Yeah. If you guys want to, we can start talking about the Kentucky Derby. I know we don't talk much about horse racing on the show, but that is this Saturday. I don't know much about the racing. I know that it's a big, party event. I know it's a lot in Louisville,
yes.
Or Louisville. Louisville. That's how you pronounce that correctly.
Louisville.
Depends where you're from.
The horse that's the favorite has been the favorite for a while, so I don't see.
Yeah. I know absolutely nothing.
I don't know much about it either. I know there's 3 of them for the Triple Crown every year, so this is the first of the 3. But I had a friend of mine who raised horses, and this was like her Super Bowl every year. Was the Kentucky Derby is like the Super Bowl for horse racing. So
yeah, it's it.
Hold up your minute.
I just don't know.
Have 2 minutes of horse racing.
That's the thing that kills me. It's like a day at the races. I think horse racing is a lot like soccer, at least for me. Whereas if you're at the event and you're doing the things at the event, then it's fun. You have a great time. But the way that, and I see the soccer the same way. In person, absolutely adore soccer. Soccer is so much fun in person, especially college soccer. I've never been to an MLS game, but when I was in school, I went to my school soccer games because as a student, we got in for free. So I go and root on the home team, right? And I feel like horse racing is the same thing. Like on TV, it's 4.5 hours of standing around and waiting for a 2-minute race. And there's absolutely nothing entertaining about that for me. Like, yeah, I'll catch the highlights on SportsCenter at 11 or whatever. But to sit there and watch them parade the horses around for 2 hours or 3 hours or 4 hours, and then the event to take 90 seconds to 2.5 minutes, depending on how long the race is. Especially with a race like the Kentucky Derby, where that's the only game in town that weekend. Like, because at other horse racing events, there's like 4, 5, 6 races, and each race has a certain post, and they take off. You'll have an 11:40 post, you'll have a 12:10 post, you'll have a 1 o'clock post, or whatever, just for one of an example. And so you're not. It's one race and then 20 minutes, boom, 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 race after race after race. And I can understand, if you're into horse racing, if that's your game, then, more power to you. And I'm not hating on horse racing fans. It's just not my bag. Why I'm talking about it like I know anything is anybody's guess.
Yeah. And yeah, it's been going on for over 100 years.
Yes, it has. Yes, it has.
Yeah.
All that for just 2 minutes. You're waiting all day, and then in 2 minutes, then it's over.
Well, I can make jokes, but we're not going to go there.
There's a lot of drinking. I mean, people wear funky hats and get dressed up, and you drink and have a good time.
Make a day of it.
Yeah.
I mean, absolutely. There's no way you can tell me that they don't go to the track thinking, hey, you know what? The race, what does the race start at, like 3 or 4 o'clock in the afternoon, I think? Something like that. I don't even know when it's 6 o'clock. Okay. So I was
thinking 5. I think it's.
I'm at the track at like noon or 11 o'clock in the morning, getting my seat, throwing back some mint juleps, getting all like in the mood, getting excited, and just, making a day, like you said, making a day out of it.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, and horse racing has been around for centuries.
Yeah.
And people have raced horses. And just the big ones, they just, like, horse racing never caught my fancy. Horse racing is too, they say hockey's expensive, but good night, horse racing
is worse.
Oh no! Like I understand every sport outside of soccer is expensive to play as a kid, growing up. Like because to play soccer, all you need is a vaguely round object, a vaguely flat piece of ground, and vaguely designated areas, and you can play soccer with 2 people.
Mm-hmm.
But for anything more sophisticated. And not to say that soccer is unsophisticated or the play, it doesn't take a tremendous amount of skill to play soccer. But for any more well-defined sports, because soccer can be any vaguely flat piece of ground. You can play soccer in an alley, right? One end's the goal, the other end's not the goal. It's the other goal, and 2 kids can kick around a vaguely round object until they get bored. But for anything that has any more formal structure, you need money to play, and I think horse racing is definitely a sport of the rich and privileged. And so, growing up in rural northern Michigan, horse racing did absolutely nothing for me.
No, I mean, I like I said, I didn't really pay attention to it until I dated someone at one time that was into horse racing and watched a couple races with her. But I mean, I know every year that everybody that is into horse racing gets into the Triple Crown. You know, it's what is it? The Derby, the Preakness, and then the Belmont. And Belmont's the longest of them all, and that's the last race of the Triple Crown. And Lou, aren't they like a month after each other? Isn't it like May, June, July? Don't they do a race?
No. Kentucky Derby is the first weekend in May. Then 2 weeks later, you have the Preakness, and then the first weekend in June is the Belmont.
Oh, so by the beginning of June, the race, the Triple Crown of it will be done. Okay,
correct.
Okay, makes sense. Well, I guess that way you don't really have too long for the horses to recover. I guess.
Right.
No off days.
Right. Yeah. A week, 2 weeks, 2 weeks in between races. Okay.
Right.
You got 2 weeks to rest. Get back out there and do it again.
No load management on your horses.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Oh. But you know, and I'm not trying to dog anyone out that likes horse racing or likes, you know, maybe they don't like horse racing, but they like, you know, they're not like a big horse racing fan, but you know, they're kind of like a casual, you know, like someone that tunes into the Super Bowl or tunes into the Cup Finals or tunes into Daytona and Talladega, you know, like they absolutely get up for the Kentucky Derby and the Preakness and the Belmont, but then they don't watch any other horse race. You know, that's perfectly fine. You know, if that's if that's your game, like if you watch golf, you know, if you only watch the majors, you know, it's totally understandable. I don't want to seem as like I'm coming off, you know, like as a, you know, hoity-toity, you know, horse racing. It's not for me. I have Grey Poupon, but I'm more of a I drink Coors Light kind of sentiment out and you know, so
I have a horse
trying
about 20-25 minutes from me at Tampa Bay Downs.
Right.
They have big races there. It's not the big three, but they do have some of the Derby horses race there. So I know they're doing a Derby party there, and I guess you have to buy a ticket in advance, obviously. And you can go watch the Derby there and bet on it. Because just like when you go to dog, I mean, I don't know if you guys have dog racing in Jersey or in Tennessee. No. I know in Florida,
not that I'm aware of.
It's gone. Like we had dog racing greyhounds, and we don't anymore because they found it inhumane. But then beating a horse with a whip is not inhumane. I don't understand that, but that's just my point of view. But you could go and bet on other horse races that were going on at the Downs. You can go and bet on races that are going on in different states. Obviously, you can bet on the big three. So, yeah, right. I mean, I guess like Adam said, it's like if you watch golf, but you only watch the four majors, okay. Or if you watch NASCAR, you only watch Daytona, Talladega, and some of the bigger races and don't watch the races in between. You know, the Coca-Cola 600.
Yeah.
If
you like racing, if you're racing, you know, if you like motorsports, but you can't commit to a week-to-week schedule, so you watch Daytona, Indy, you know, Monaco, maybe you know, like in the championship for a race, you know, like the championship deciding race. You know, I totally understand. Like, if you only tune into the Super Bowl and maybe the conference championship game because you can't commit to an 18-week schedule.
Right.
Well, yeah, because we could talk about that. I did read an article that they want to extend it to 18 games and drop back to preseason. Roger Goodell announced that. after the draft, I think I saw something like the day.
Yeah, I think it was Friday. I think it was on the Pat McAfee show that he mentioned that.
Okay.
But
I remember.
well, Christmas Day weekend, I don't know how that's going to fly.
Why not?
Well,
You know,
people are usually busy that weekend doing stuff. The way you do with the NBA All-Star game, because that's on the same day, so that's going to screw things up. So now what do you do?
Well, the NFL, I think the
that's what
NFL
he's.
cares. The NFL's like, we make the most money, so NBA, you're
Yeah,
out.
deal with it. Figure it out. Pick another weekend. Pick another weekend, bro.
I feel bad, Lou,
Yeah.
for that because there are a lot of people, NBA fans in particular, that watch the All-Star game, and now the
Yeah.
Super Bowl is on the same day as the All-Star
Well,
game. But
Mhm.
again, you can watch the All-Star game before the Super Bowl because I don't think are they going on at the same time or is the
No,
Yeah,
well,
the-
they would. They would.
they would?
you know, I think that, you know, this is not something. No, we also have to step back here and take a beat before we get all too wilding out about schedule changing and everything and moving things around and you know, there's no guarantee that this 18 game schedule materializes for another year at the earliest,
At least.
because it wouldn't be until December when the NFL meetings, when the owners meetings happen. And so then it would have to be you know, introduced and approved by what is it? I think it's a 2/3 majority, so 21 teams, I think it is. And then it would have to, it'd have to go through a competition committee, and then they have to decide on the second bye week and all that good stuff, and expanding the regular season out to 19 weeks, and you know, and figuring all that out is going to be a long process. So I don't see this happening in the 2025 or even the 2026 schedule. I think we're looking at 2027 at the earliest. Now, obviously, I could be wrong, but
Right.
the logistics of expanding another week. I think that we'll get a lot more clarity on that over the next 6, 7, 8 months, and
Yeah.
then that gives, because that would be, so even if it was adopted for the 25-26 schedule, that gives the NBA a full year, it gives the NHL a full year, it gives NASCAR and everybody else that's got stuff going on that weekend a full year to make adjustments to what their TV schedules and all of that, you know, and maybe it's a simple, you know, it could be simply moving the All-Star game earlier, having it before the Super Bowl, you know, especially if, like,
That makes sense.
you know, and so then you don't have that conflict where you're like, you can keep people, because you know people are going to be tuned in, people are going to be watching the NFL pregame, they're going to have the game on. Well, might as well have something on for, you know, let's have the NBA All-Star game on before that, and we'll catch some eyeballs, because people will be flipping channels, and they'll be hanging out, and then they'll get bored of the pregame, and you know, channels are, hey, the NBA All-Star game's on this afternoon. Well, let's stop and watch that for a little while.
Mhm.
Well, I mean, and you can say that too, Bud. With this past year, you had NFL games on Christmas Day. That's always been the NBA
Yeah.
holiday. We've always had NBA games
Yeah.
on Christmas Day, and this year they did both. I think they had both on, and
Yeah.
it seemed like both did pretty
Did.
well as far as ratings go. I mean, they're not going to put on, you know, two bad teams in both individual leagues. You're not going to get, you know, the Spurs and, you know, somebody else.
Charlotte.
Right. They're going to have contenders. They're going to have the Lakers or the Clippers
Yeah.
or the Nuggets.
Popular teams.
Yeah, right. The teams, the Cavaliers, teams like that are
You sure they want
popular.
Detroit?
Yeah. Detroit and Charlotte in the early game, and
Detroit,
Spurs.
No. Detroit and San Antonio.
Well, no, because you gotta have 3 games. So the early game's gotta be Detroit and Charlotte, then Spurs and Pelicans, and the 3:00 game, and then the nightcap has to be
Magic, the
Orlando and
Yeah.
Portland. There you go.
There you
Okay,
go.
okay.
There you go. And then the NFL will counter with New England and Washington.
Okay.
No, in the early game, Carolina and
The Raiders.
yes, Carolina and Vegas in the afternoon, and the nightcap has to be oh god, why am I blanking on crappy teams right now? Tampa Bay and Arizona.
Yeah, there you go.
There you go. The worst 6 games you could possibly schedule.
That'll never happen because the scheduling people.
No shot.
We're
No
not gonna
shot, man.
put crappy
Yeah.
teams on any of those two individual
It's a crap
teams.
fest.
Yeah, it's going to be the Knicks, the Lakers, the Philly, Denver, teams like that are good. And the NFL is going to have
Yeah,
Green Bay,
Miami,
Baltimore, teams like that are
Philly.
Dallas. Even though I know
Yep,
Dallas,
yep.
but maybe they won't put Dallas or Detroit on because those two are on Thanksgiving Day every year. I don't know.
Right, of course. I don't think you give them. I don't think you give them two holiday games, but
Yeah.
Philly.
Yeah,
And you could make an argument for Philly and Washington because of the historical rivalry and in the battle and that you can make an argument for Philly Washington, but Washington Carolina ain't happening.
No. Being that those two picks were 1-2 in the draft this year.
Yeah.
Last
Yeah.
week, 1-2 in the draft last week. So
Yeah.
you're right. I don't see that happening. But you could put division games on. That would kind of be cool. So say you have Washington or the Giants and the Eagles.
Green Bay, Chicago,
Tampa Bay, Atlanta. You could do stuff like that where
Yeah.
it's division games.
Yeah, you definitely, especially with the condensed schedule. Yeah, I think that's one thing that made the NFL so popular over the last 25 years. This is my opinion, totally unscientific with no research, but my opinion is that you got what helped boost the NFL's popularity over the other leagues was the lack of games over the course of a season. When you had 16 games, you got to watch if you wanted to see your team play, you got one chance a week to watch them play, and it was either an early game or an afternoon game or the Sunday or Monday night cap. So you had 4 games, you had 4 time slots that your team was going to be playing in. With other sports, with basketball or football or basketball or hockey or baseball, there are 82. And in the NHL and the NBA, there's 82 games for a chance to watch your team play. And in the MLB, as we all know, there's 162,000 games. So, you have plenty of chances to catch your team. And so, especially in the early, in the early days of the rise of NFL supremacy. So, late 90s, early 2000s, when the NBA really finally, or NFL finally took over from baseball, as America's preferred pastime.
Yeah.
I think, again, and this is complete conjecture on my part, but I think that the fact that there were so few opportunities to watch your team on a week-to-week basis,
Yeah.
and that all the games were going to be either on your local Fox, your local CBS, or NBC, and then if you were super unlucky, you lose one or two games to ESPN, but then you could go to like a bar or a buddy's house and watch Monday Night Football. So, you weren't going to miss, you might lose 2 games a year with it being on ESPN. And so I always felt that was what made the NFL so popular, was the lack of games, one game for your team. Your team was going to play either Sunday afternoon, it's early Sunday, late Sunday, Sunday evening, or Monday. And then, of course, with the Thursday night games, then you got one extra game a week.
Yeah.
Excuse me. But your team was only playing your team was still only playing 1 game a week. And my fear, or my hesitancy with going to 18 games, and it's the same thing I said when they talked about when they were first kicking around the idea of going to 17 games, was oversaturation of the market. Too many games, too many games, not enough players. And the fact that you have about 6 or 8 teams each year that are really competitive in every game. You've got 12 to 15 teams that you don't know. You got 8 teams that are going to win double digits, almost guaranteed, without a major injury. All things being equal and everybody staying healthy, you've got about 8 teams that are guaranteed to win double digits. You've got about 8 teams that are guaranteed to lose double digits. And then you've got everybody else kind of in the middle, floating around being not quite terrible, but not quite good.
Right.
And so when it comes to making the schedule and building out at the time 17 game schedule, 18 weeks, 17 games, and getting competitive matchups in each and every single week against, because 6 games, you're going to have to play your division opponents 6 times. And then you have to play your conference opponent, you have to play your one conference opponent 4 games, and then you have interconference opponents 4 games, and I think and then you have the floating game that is either the NFC gets the home game and the AFC gets the home game, and then the next year it flips. So having now, whereas 25 years ago there was your local Fox, your local CBS, and ESPN, and that was the only game in town. Where if you want, your Sunday morning countdown started at 9 and went till noon, and then at noon you picked up your local team. So your local station. If you're an AFC guy, you watch CBS, and if you're an NFC guy, you watch Fox. You might flip back and forth depending on what either side was talking about. Maybe you're like a Peyton Manning guy, so you wanted to watch, and CBS was running a bit about Peyton Manning. So you flip over to CBS and you watch Peyton. You watch that bit about Peyton Manning. And then, okay, that's done. And I like Frank Caliendo. He's my favorite funny man. I'm going to flip back over to Fox and watch his pregame picks. And then, of course, you had the early games, the mid games, and then the Sunday night nightcap. And that was football.
Yeah, it was.
And now with the rise of social media and your TikToks and your Twitters and your Facebooks and YouTube, like what we do here, the market is so heavy for sports commentary, and yet by the time you get to about 10 o'clock on Monday morning, everything has been cussed and discussed to death. And so the adding one more game, which I think at this point your 18 is probably the max. I just can't see them expanding 20 or 22 or 24 games, because then you're getting into a point where you're just going to be playing football from the beginning. You're going to have the draft at the end of April, and the season's going to start in June. To get every game in with 4 bye weeks.
Well, I was going to say.
I don't think that comes to that point. I don't think it's going to come to that.
I was going to say this year with Christmas falling on a Tuesday, I doubt there'll be any NFL games on Tuesdays.
No,
Wrong.
no, they're gonna have a couple games.
Wrong.
I mean,
First of all, Chris will be on a Wednesday this year, and they are going to do it.
okay, they are. Okay, I'm sorry. Then I'm correct. Yeah, I guess,
And-
guys, correct me if I'm wrong. The schedule comes out in the next couple weeks, right?
Yeah, the final reveal.
So I want to say I think it comes out 2 weeks after the draft. I think is when they said it was supposed to be out.
Sounds about right. Yeah.
Check on that.
Like all the opponents have been announced, but the schedule hasn't been set yet.
NFL schedule release should be. Come on.
May 9th. So it's next week, a week from today.
Oh, next week.
A week from today.
You said it's next. I knew it was a Thursday. Oh, we'll have Jeff on and get to get an instant reaction to the
NFL
an
schedule.
instant reaction to the NFL schedule. Yeah, as it happens, live on the air. Sounds like fun.
So I guess we can kind of say everything next week, guys, will be NFL draft, NFL schedule related for 2 hours. It'll be an all NFL show next week because I'm
like
sure
you
that's
said.
all we're talking about
Yeah.
next week is the NFL. So yeah,
I'll be recapping the draft on mine because we got the just got the if you pardon the expression, the Mr. Irrelevant. Boy. Yep.
I like Mr. Irrelevant. It's kind of a cool story.
Sometimes it'd be a good thing, sometimes it'd be a bad thing. But just remember, not every Mr. Irrelevant pick is gotta be the next Brock Purdy. So we have to keep that in mind.
Of course not. Of course not. It's like every Mr. Irrelevant is one step closer to the NFL than I'll ever be.
Yeah, well, let's put it this way. It can't do any worse than Zach Wilson. Oh, okay.
Hey.
Oh, there.
No, it'll never be as bad as Joey Harrington. At least Zach Wilson managed to win a
Or,
game.
if you want to go worse than that, I can't believe that people still remember this guy, even though it was so bad. And I think we know who that is, don't we? Oh wait, you guys.
You're gonna have to show me in.
You're a little bit young, Adam, so you know. But
What?
about let's see, I think 30 years ago, and despite the fact how bad this guy was, I mean, he's still remembered. Not for being good though. And his name was
I can't come up with a name.
Ryan Leaf.
Oh, okay. You went in a different direction. I was thinking that lineman from seeing the lineman from Michigan State that went to the Packers. God, I can see his stupid back. I can't remember his name.
I was watching Draft Bust the other day, buddy. He made that list. The Michigan
Yeah,
State offensive
yeah.
lineman made the list. Obviously, Ryan Leaf was number 2, but
Yeah.
who was number 1? Do you guys know who number 1 was? Draft Bust.
I have a guess.
Go ahead.
I'm gonna say Jamarcus Russell.
That is correct. That is exactly who
Oh.
that's who they predicted the number 1 draft bust of all time was Marcus Russell. Because I guess according to what I read, I mean, yes, I played football, but he got in trouble. He didn't want to study film. All he wanted to do was get a paycheck, and that's what he did.
Well, everybody knew that he. Everybody knew he was not NFL material. He was not a first-round draft pick. Did he go 2? Did he go 1? I can't remember offhand.
One
He
of the
went
great-
in the top as at 1, right?
Correct. First overall pick.
Right.
in the draft.
And everyone knew. Everyone told Al Davis to his face, do not draft Jamarcus Russell. He is not an NFL product. He is a project at best. And he took him anyway because he fell in love with the big arm. Well, Jamarcus got the big arm. He can run. And to Jamarcus's credit, he could run. He had a cannon for an arm. But like Lou was saying, he didn't want to study. He didn't care about football.
No.
And
What are you doing there? If you don't care about the game, why are you there?
Good point.
Well, okay, so there's two schools of thought, right? Where I can understand not caring about football beyond getting paid. Okay, right? Where you show up and do your job and make your money and you go home, and you're not in the film room every night. You're not a 3 a.m. guy. I don't have any problem with that. Where you live your life and you work at football on Sunday. But Jamarcus didn't want to work in football on Sunday. That's the problem. Is because you can be a punch the clock kind of guy and play football and be very successful. Where you just come in, you do your job, and you go home. Because you're not interested in being 24/7 gung-ho Mr. Football. You're there to do a job. You're not there to make friends. Nobody likes you. Screw you guys. I'm going home. Perfectly fine attitude. The problem is that when you clock in for your football shift, you do football until the point you clock out from your football shift, Monday through Sunday. And Jamarcus didn't want to put in the effort to do football when he wasn't playing. And when you're not going to put in the effort that it requires to take football seriously, you don't have to be a
Right, of course.
fire and brimstone, Bill Cowher, Tom Brady, spitting mad, knowing everything about football. You just have to be competent at what you're doing. If you're confident, if Jamarcus had everything from here down, right, to be an elite level NFL quarterback, what he lacked, and it's not something that you can teach, you either have it or you don't, is the discipline it takes to be a 24/7 NFLer.
Right.
He just didn't have the drive and the compete to make up for what it's not even that he lacked in talent, because there are a lot of guys that lack their talent that make up for it with compete. I think of names that come to mind: Terrell Davis, Drew Brees, Kirk Cousins. The guys that didn't, just for Rod Smith, guys that weren't top tier athletes, right? They weren't first overall picks. And they were guys that scrapped and clawed and fought to do football to the best of their abilities and make up for what they lacked talent-wise with preparation and dedication.
Mm-hmm.
And unfortunately for guys like Jamarcus Russell, Ryan Leaf, the kid from Michigan State, if you don't have an insane level of passion for football, you almost have to be psychopathic to play NFL football at the highest level. To play NFL football at your highest level for 16, 17, 18 games a year, where you were able to get by coasting through high school, just being physically bigger and stronger than everybody, you can make up for a lot of lack of will just by showing up. And you can compensate in college with just being surrounded by freak athletes of similar stature to you. Jamarcus had some great talent around him. And so, but then when you get to the NFL, you can't just athlete your way through it. Because Ray Lewis isn't just athleting his way through it. Brian Dawkins isn't just athleting his way through it. John Lynch, Warren Sapp, you take your favorite defensive player of all time from any era, and they're not just athleting their way through it. They know what you're wanting to run. They know what your formation looks like. They know your tendencies. They know on 3rd and 8 from the 42 with 8 minutes to go in the second quarter, going towards the north end zone in your home stadium from the inside hash that your coach likes to run crossers over the middle to suck the safety down to open up something over to the top. They know. They're ready for it. They're looking for it because they're ready for it. And you've got to be more ready. And I'm saying that in terms of prepping on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday an hour before the game, Sunday 1 minute before the game. Football life for football players at the NFL level just doesn't end. You can certainly be great and not be dedicated to football 24/7.
Yeah.
But those guys are few and far between.
No, I agree with that. I mean, there are certain players that just don't. They, like you said, Bud. They want to show up, and that's it. They feel, I have to show up. I don't have to put in the work. But again, like you said, when it's anything else, going to high school, going to college, you have to step up your game because the guys are faster and stronger. Going from college to the pros, that's the difference too. Is in college, you throw a pass, it doesn't get picked off. In the pros, it's a pick six because they'll pick up on all your flaws. The defense is studying your flaws. They know, okay, he likes to throw on third down, or this guy likes to roll out on second downs. They pick up on stuff like that. They watch film, and like you said, Russell just didn't want to put in the time to study defenses, and he just wanted to check. And the whole thing between him and Ryan Leaf too. Ryan Leaf at least has beaten his drug issues. I think he's got a podcast he does. I think he does some kind of NFL. He does something in the NFL. Someone in the NFL.
Well, good for him because last I knew he was in prison.
Well, I mean that's what I mean. I mean he's turned his life around. He's gotten out of.
Wow, good for him. Good for him.
Now, as far as Jamarcus Russell, I'm not sure. I haven't heard anything about him, but I think Ryan Leaf either has his own podcast or he does something in behind the scenes. So he's got his life
good for him.
Compared to where it was during his NFL run with the Chargers. So
and I don't need to dog on Russell, Jamarcus Russell, because it's not flipping burgers at McDonald's for $8.50 an hour. It's one of the most high stress jobs in the world, where any mistake can cost you your job and your life.
Yep. Maybe
not kill you, but your livelihood. One mistake, one wrong step, and you're done. And it's so. I don't mean to dog on Jamarcus Russell, because at the end of the day, he's gone a lot further than I ever could have gone. He made the NFL. He was the number 1 overall draft pick. Did he squander his opportunity? I would say yes. I would say he did squander his opportunity. But that being said, he got an opportunity. And the thing is, and I'd love to, it's an open invitation to Jamarcus Russell to come on the show. If his people call my people, we'll bring him on the show. I'd love to pick his brain about this kind of stuff and see, because when you can get a job, right? You can apply for a job, you can be given a job, you go to work, and you hate it. You just hate it. But you're not going to quit because you're going to make them fire you so you can get your severance package.
Mm-hmm.
And I when you get there and you find out, this is a lot more work than I thought it was going to be. This is a lot more work than I wanted. So I'm just going to ride it out until the contract's over or they fire me, whichever happens to come first, and then I'm done. I can also see that perspective of it, where you can rack your brain. You can stand there and stare at the screen for 8 hours, 6 days a week, and you could look at everything. But if you can't make heads or tails of it, you might as well be teaching algebra to elephants. Because you're not, it doesn't matter how much you try. And this is something that when we talk about mental health and ADHD and autism and all that kind of stuff, you can say, you can look at a problem and you can come up with an answer. All fine. You be okay. This is how you can show. Okay, this is how we do this. You're like, all right, cool. I understand. So you go off and you do the problem, and you go to the next set of problems, and you were told this is how you do these problems. So you take what you learned here, right, and you apply it over here because well, this is how I do these, and these look the same as these. So then you go and you do those, and you take those and you go back to your teacher, and you're like, hey, here's my work, and the teacher goes, why'd you do those that way? If you didn't know what you were doing, why didn't you ask for help? And you go, I didn't know what I was doing. I was told, this is how you do these, and this is how you do those, so I did those that way, and these this way. And you're like, no, it's wrong. Why is it wrong? You have to figure it out because I can't teach you. And then you both end up throwing the math book across the living room on a Monday night. Or is that just me?
No, that's true.
You know, and
no, I agree.
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
No, you're good. You're good, but you're good. I agree with you. I'm watching the. I don't watch NBA basketball, but there's nothing on TV right now, so I'm watching the Pacers just obliterate the Milwaukee Bucks right now.
Really?
They're the Greek freak in Milton. I knew it.
Yeah, Lillard's playing tonight, but the Greek freaks out, and they're down by 19 points in the fourth quarter with 5 minutes left.
That's a tough road to hoe.
And the Pacers are 3 games to 1. Is it 3 games to 2?
1.
3 games to 1.
Wow. The Pacers are going to knock off the Bucks.
Yep.
Yeah. All right. Well,
I'm interested in
just wanted to
when the Knicks and the Sixers. I want to see if the Knicks can close it out and
probably not
round 2. Because if not, I'm gonna hear Stephen A. Smith tomorrow going ape shit on his show because
God,
diehard Knicks. So
right.
I heard about that. You should heard me on another show earlier. I did my Stephen A. Smith. Oh boy, was it bad! Why was he spinning on the other one?
Well, you were talking about like Christmas Day games. How about Knicks Celtics? That would be great.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Oh, yeah.
On Christmas Day, that would be great, especially if
Knicks Celtics, Lakers Celtics, Lakers Knicks, all games that are.
If Boston and New York make it to the Eastern Conference Finals against each other this year, next season, you have those two against each other. That would be a great matchup on Christmas Day. Yeah,
I'm looking forward to it.
And Boston and New York hook up in the Eastern Conference Finals again. Oh.
Well,
the NBA world will come to a halt.
Yeah.
And in a good way, in a good way.
But in baseball, that rivalry is not as good as it used to be. The Red Sox-Yankee rivalry
That figures.
be. So they got to do somewhere else. So.
Yeah, just I think, and Luke and you guys are not a Red Sox fan and a Yankees fan,
Right.
When your team's not doing very good, and I can speak from personal experience, when your team loses constantly to your arch rival, your arch nemesis, it's not fun.
No.
But when you're finally good again, and you beat the shit out of those guys, and you get to listen to every excuse under the sun for 365 days, a little bit different in baseball. You get a little bit different in baseball because you play each other 1,900 times a year, like every day, every Saturday from April until September. But even if you guys are stinky, even if you guys suck, right? You still get up for Boston in New York. Even I know the Red Sox are down this last couple of years. They haven't been great, but when it's Boston and New York, and it's go time, whether it be in Fenway or at Yankee Stadium, and it's a Sunday night, 8 o'clock on 8 o'clock special, and ESPN's in town for the game because of course they are. You still, no matter how they could both be 0-41. They're for some reason they'll play the first game 41 games in the first set 41 games in the season. But even if you guys were 0-41 and you're playing your first set against each other, or let's take a little bit more 0-10. Both teams are 0-10.
Yeah.
You don't want your first. Or nothing would feel better than getting your first win of the season against your arch rival.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And so when you get that win, you beat your arch rival, or let's say series. No matter the Yankees could have won 4 series in a row, right? Dating back to last year, they've won 4 series in a row with 3 sweeps, and when Boston finally breaks through and gets that first series of a new run, and then they go on a 4-0 run, it makes even if you're both lousy teams, it makes baseball worth watching. And so that's why, even if they're both lousy teams, that's why they're still on Sunday night, because they know people want to watch. Even Boston and New York, it doesn't matter what sport they're playing. They're playing basketball or football or hockey or it could be 2 guys playing checkers in an alleyway, and you got 2 guys from Boston and 2 guys from New York standing there watching them play. It's still a great rivalry.
The first time the Red Sox play the Yankees is mid-June.
Really? That's fun.
Fenway, yeah.
Huh.
We don't meet each other until then. Then we have that's at Fenway. Then we go to Yankee Stadium the day after the 4th of July. So it's the 5th, 6th, and 7th.
Okay.
And then we're home against them at the end of July, the 26th, 27th, and 28th. And then on the road in the beginning of mid-September, the 12th through the 14th. Oh, there's a 4-game series. It's the 12th through the 15th of September. So that's so far this year, the Yankees and Red Sox are 2-3 right now. And again, that's a long way away from the end of the season. But as of right now, we're trailing the Orioles, which going into the season, I thought it was going to come down to Tampa Bay, the Yankees, and the Orioles. As the Rays are just off to a horrendous start right now. They can't hit, they can't pitch, but the Orioles are no surprise. And I don't think Aaron Judge has caught his spark yet, which is scary to say that.
Not yet.
But I mean, they're still winning. I mean, they're still winning games, and the Red Sox are doing it without any big superstars outside of Devers. So miraculously, the Red Sox have the best rotation in the American League, which is shocking because that was supposed to be a weakness. So now again, it's still early. I'm aware that we're only through half of the season. We're only in month 2, so we'll see at the end of May. Come June and July, when the games start meaning something, that's when you go, okay. Now you decide who's the playoff teams, who are the contenders or the pretenders. We'll find out in July when the games mean, when you go into a series, 3-game series, and going, you know what, we got to win 2 out of 3. We got to keep these guys beneath us, or we got to catch them. Well, like for example, the Tigers. You're behind the Guardians in July. All right, well, we're only back by a game.
If we're a game and a half back in July, I'm throwing a World Series parade.
That's what I mean. But I mean, you have a 3-game.
Absolutely, no.
You win 2 games, and you're back in the division lead again. Yeah.
And I'm only being hyperbolic. But I totally understand. And like what I was going to say is that you were saying Aaron Judge hasn't even hit his stride yet. And And for a big guy like Aaron Judge, it's true of a lot of big hitters, power hitters, not just in terms of stature and girth, but in terms of just big fly hitters, is that they need the warmer months, mid-May through August and September is when they can really start turning on balls. Early April is still cold. Mid-April can be cold. Late April it finally starts to really warm up, but early May through August, it gets hot and stays hot, and so you see the big bats come to life. And it's true of so many power hitters. Prince Fielder, Miguel Cabrera, Yasiel Puig, that was what I'm trying to with. And Gary Sheffield, Torrey Hunter. When it started to get warm. Oh God, buddy, I'm tired, Alfred.
Real quick, buddy.
Years.
Sheffield. How is he not in the Hall of Fame? Can somebody explain that to me?
I'm trying to figure it out myself.
Oh, that's a good question.
Do you think, guys?
No rings?
His relationship with the media.
I don't know, because I don't really think he ever had a bad relationship with the media. Let me not say that it couldn't be part of it, but I'm thinking it's more rings. So he has really not mediocre stats, but very. How do I put this in a way? He's mediocre for a borderline Hall of Famer. He has borderline Hall of Famer stats, and no rings to show for it. Yeah, and I think that ends up putting. I don't think we put a lot of emphasis on baseball rings, but I think rings really do help you get over the hump in all sports.
Did he?
If you have look at, did he win one with the Yankees?
I think. Well, Lou, you can tell me. You're a Yankee fan. Didn't he win? Didn't he win one or two with them?
Yes.
I was going to
Did
say.
he? I didn't think so.
I thought.
I didn't think Gary Sheffield was.
No, Gary Sheffield was with the Mets. No, Sheffield was with the Mets.
Oh, I thought he was with the Yankees because he wasn't he on the 2014 that blew the ALCS. He was on that team. I thought he was. I could be wrong. Maybe I'm.
Well, they didn't win a title in 04.
No, they didn't win a title in 04.
No.
Maybe
No,
you're right. He never won a ring. Maybe it was the year he was with the Yankees. They didn't get one.
Right.
I don't think he ever won.
Wait,
The ultimate
he
choke.
He was on the 97 Marlin team. He was a young kid, so he won a World Series there.
That's true. He did win a ring in Miami.
Yeah, Marlins. Yeah,
That game was.
I don't know. Well, I'll put the kibosh on that argument. Never mind.
I think I could be wrong, but maybe he just when he did interviews or press conferences, maybe it was the fact because I'm not a baseball writer. I don't know anybody that has a Hall of Fame, but from what I've heard and what I've read, they're pretty stickler. Like they are very, very old.
That's
school.
my.
They want the players to answer questions, and
Right.
my thought with that is, and I've been to
And not cheap.
press conferences, to be asked stupid questions over and over and over again about the same stupid shit, I would get pissed off too. I would get mad
Yeah.
too. Like,
Yeah.
you asked me that question 2 games ago, nothing has changed. So why do you keep asking me the same stupid question other than to get your bit that I got mad at you so you can write in your article that I got mad? You know what I mean?
You get a soundbite.
And I'm not.
Hey,
I'm
Coach,
not
what do you think of your offensive execution?
either. So I'm the opposite. I like to hear the positive things. And even if you lose, there's always a positive, and I want to hear what the player has. Okay, so you guys lost by 3 goals. Okay, tell me why. What did you do? You scored 2 goals. So is that the positive that you scored 2 yourself? Help you get back into it. I'm not going to sit there and go, oh, well, your team lost by 3. How do you feel? Well, how do you think I feel? I feel crushed. We're
Pretty lousy.
Season's over.
Pretty lousy.
What?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, we lost by 5 goals, but Charlie G. Willikers, we're going to the club tonight. Anybody want to come in? First round's on me. No, I don't think so.
But I mean,
gonna
I
play that.
remember the first year that the Lightning won their back-to-back, the bubble year that they beat.
Right.
Right.
They asked Johan Hedberg, who was the goaltender for the Dallas Stars. He came in. Obviously, they had just lost the cup. He comes in. They say, "Hey, Johan, how are you feeling?" He looks at him. He goes, "How do you think I feel? We just lost the cup. What do you want me to say? Oh, I feel like you said. I'm gonna go to the club after. Anybody want to join me?
First round's on me.
Yeah, sure.
I mean, and there you couldn't go to the club because it was COVID. You couldn't do shit anyway after the game.
Stupid.
You had to go back to the hotel and sit in silence and watch TV. But I mean, you're right. Like, you ask the same stupid questions, I would get mad as an athlete too. But I'm wondering if, thinking back to Gary Sheffield, if maybe he had a bad run with a certain media member who happens to hold a vote, and that one vote is what's keeping him out of the Hall of Fame. I don't know. I don't know.
I don't know. I'd have to look back at Gary's stats and look at it a little bit deeper. But you got his numbers?
You got his stats up, Lou?
The buck stops here. It's over.
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
They just won. Yeah. They just
Okay.
Let me look, bud. Hang on, man. Let me look up.
Yeah, look up his numbers real quick. Because a lot of guys, baseball's a fickle Hall of Fame to get in. I think baseball is the hardest Hall of Fame to get in.
I agree with that.
Because because there are so few players every year that actually win a ring and have good number, have Hall of Fame numbers, and contribute over the long run. Where I think that Gary Sheffield has borderline Hall of Fame numbers and won the ring, and I think he had 300 homers, but he might have had less.
He had 309 career home runs.
309?
509. 509. He had 500.
509. Oh, that's a lot. Surprised he's a 500 club member.
His career batting average is 292, which is pretty damn good for MLB.
That's great for baseball. Yeah.
He had 2,689 hits, so he was 211 hits away from 3,000.
That's enough.
311 hits away from 3,000. He had, he started his career with the Milwaukee Brewers in 1988. He was 19 years old. And then he got his numbers, got into the groove when he went to Florida. He played 5 years with the Marlins, 6 years with the Marlins, I'm sorry. That was during the lockout year of 1994, so obviously that didn't count. Then he went to the Dodgers for 4. He played with the Braves for 2, the Yankees for 3. Ended his career 2 years with the Tigers, and then ended with the Mets at 40 in 2009. So he retired in 2009. So that's
21 seasons.
21 seasons. Yeah. So 21 years. Like I said, he had 900. Excuse me. Let me rephrase this. 9,217 at bats, and he had 2,689 hits in those 9,000 at bats. That is damn good. That's damn good.
You must be right, because those are solid.
That's my thought process too. Because they just voted on it and he didn't make it, and now it's going to be up to the. I guess when you don't make it in your final year on the ballot, they move you to like senior advisors, and then they vote
veterans committee,
to put you in. So maybe the senior guys go, hey, you know what? He has the numbers. He hit 292. He's a 500. He's a part of the 500 member club. He needs to be in. Like
he needs to be in, of course.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. I just think baseball.
I'm sorry, Lou.
Is there something wrong with this picture, or is it us?
I guess it's us. It's got to be us because they know more than we do. I mean, they're.
Well, I mean,
They wouldn't have gotten the job through nepotism, of course not.
We know why Pete Rose isn't in the Hall of Fame because of his gambling, right?
Right.
So we know why he's not in the Hall of Fame.
Not-
Then you have Roger Maris is not in the Hall of Fame.
Roger Maris is weird. I don't know why he's not in the Hall of Fame.
That's another one that should be in there. I don't get that either.
Well, he had the single season home run record, but he passed away before it was officially his record until Aaron Judge passed it. Was it last year or the year before? But anyway, it's weird that I think his batting average is like 232, but still, if you have a career batting average of anything above 200 in the majors, that should be a shoe into the Hall of Fame. But again, and it goes by rings.
Yeah, no, of course it would.
He won multiple rings with the Yankees. So I don't know why Roger Maris is not in there. I don't know why Gary Sheffield.
He's short of a career, maybe?
Yeah, there's been some controversy about
Could
that
be.
with Maris not getting in.
Because, Lou, I was on another podcast with my buddy, and we did a Yankee Mount Rushmore. They did 2 because the Yankees have had that many good players. So I got the luxury of I had Thurman Munson was one of my guys, and the other one was Roger Maris. I got Roger in the 4. But I to me, I guess I'm too easy of a writer to I just put everybody in. You're all in. Yeah, I'm voting you all in. Everybody's going in, but you can't.
If you're on the ballot, if you're on the ballot at that point, it's kind of hard if you put together a career good enough to be considered for the Hall of Fame, and it's not the Hall of Greatness. Let's really focus in on it. What are you famous for? Are you famous for playing baseball? Did you make the Hall of Fame list? If you can answer yes to both of those questions, how can you not say that they're a Hall of Famer?
Yeah, I agree.
Right.
Well, like you said, but earlier, I think the hardest Hall of Fame to get into is baseball. It has to be.
Yeah, I just think that I don't know. I don't know what that would be a great, another great conversation I'd love to have is bring on, if there are any baseball writers out there that have a Hall of Fame vote, that want to talk to us knuckleheads. We'll be happy to bring you on and talk to you for however long you want to talk. But can you explain to me why you are so anal about who goes in the Hall of Fame? Look, the way I look at it is that the goal of the Hall of Fame is to celebrate the game. And if you're not putting the players in that the fans care about, why in the sweet, ever-loving, holy Christ should I give 2 flying shits about your Hall of Fame?
Yeah.
If you go to me and you went to the NASCAR Hall of Fame last year, right?
Mm-hmm.
Every driver who was in the Hall of Fame was somebody that meant something to NASCAR. Whether it was guys like Jimmy Johnson or Ron Hornaday, and guys like or Inman or Knaus or pit road guys, road crew guys, and the Hall of Fame was jam packed to the rafters with cool NASCAR memorabilia, stuff that you want to see. And the idea that the Baseball Hall of Fame would be so and this is the thing that bothers me about these people that argue about the Hall of Fame. Though he's not a Hall of Famer. Why not? Whose legacy are you tarnishing by putting in? There are people that argue that they need to take people out of the Hall of Fame, like Joe Namath. Oh, Joe Namath doesn't deserve to be in the Hall of Fame. He doesn't have the numbers. Yeah, well, he doesn't have the numbers for 2025, but he didn't go to the Hall of Fame in 2025. He played in the 60s. Well, of course he's not going to have Hall of Fame numbers, whatever those are.
Yeah.
Like a Tom Brady or a Peyton Manning. The Hall of Fame is about celebrating the game and the players that make the game fun to watch. The players that, whether it's baseball or basketball or football or hockey or NASCAR or golf or tennis or checkers. Checkers seems to be my random board game of the. I don't know if there's a Candyland. If there's a Candyland Hall of Fame, you put the people that make Candyland, that made watching Candyland fun. Like no, okay. Like, for one of a better example, the WWE Hall of Fame. WWE puts everybody in. Even if you've made a minor contribution to the game, you're going in the Hall.
Yeah.
I mean, they put Muhammad Ali in this year for God's sakes. What was his contribution to WWE? He showed up. He was a celebrity who showed up. He went to the celebrity wing in the Hall of Fame because, that's just cool.
Right.
He did make contributions to the wrestling world, so that's why he got in.
Yeah, he showed up, and it was cool. Did he wrestle for 30 years?
No.
Did he hold titles? No, he didn't. He was a famous person who appeared on WWE programming, and that's it. And why did he go in the Hall of Fame? Because it's cool. That's why. Because WWE is cool. I mean, and for me, whether it be Roger Maris or Darryl Strawberry or we can even talk about the steroid guys. We could talk about who did you mention earlier? That now the name is escaping me. Pete Rose. We could talk about those guys going in because at the end of the day, those are the guys that people wanted to see play the game, and especially with Pete Rose. With the controversy having died down, and most people being like, whatever, is it time to put Pete Rose in the Hall of Fame? I mean, you put him in as a player.
I think they will, but when he dies, I'll bet you any.
I think
they'll put him in when he dies because they don't want to hear him talk about how he was left out, so they'll have his son or his kids talk about it. Oh, well, our dad was this. And they may bring up, well, I can't believe you guys waited until he died to put him in because he's the all-time hits leader. Like, how does he not belong in the Hall of Fame? He's the all-time hits leader. He has the most hits of any baseball player on the planet. I don't get it. I
Still does.
So, yeah, still does.
Well, and I think the argument against Pete Rose is glorifying cheating. And I think that's the argument about the steroid era players not going in, guys like McGuire and Sosa and Bonds and Clemens, those guys getting left out and now being off the ballot. Is because they we don't want to promote cheating, which, I can understand, but at the end of the day, we're so far removed from it that I think that the argument of glorifying cheating is kind of running out of steam at this point because, with the way testing is and the way that, and what we know now, that a lot of people in baseball were happy to turn a blind eye to the steroid use, and not just baseball, but all sports. We're more than happy to turn a blind eye when they were turning a profit. And now that people, and when the scandal broke in the early 2000s, and all the, in the hearings in Congress and all that dog and pony show, now that that's all kind of faded into background noise, that I think a lot of people I think a lot of the average fans, not so much diehards, but average fans, people that watch they'll watch 30 or 40 or 50 games a year and watch the playoffs if their teams are in it, or if the team's in it. I think those fans are more than happy to just live and let live and move on. Putting Bonds, putting McGuire, Sosa, Clemens, the rest of those steroid era players in the Hall of Fame. I don't think there would be, 2009. If you had put Bonds in the Hall of Fame in 2009, there would have been outrage. But in 2025, I don't think the outrage. There might be some outrage, but I think it would quickly be drowned out by the people saying, they did their crime, they paid, and they did their time, and it's time to move on. And time heals all wounds. And so I think that a lot of people would be more than willing to live and let live and just accept them being Hall of Famers. I think it's only the old heads, and a lot of them are writers, who don't like flashy guys. They don't like the showboaters. They don't like the loud stars. The people that fans want to see, that fans pay their money to come see play baseball. Especially younger fans in my age bracket, they like the flashy guys. They like the backflips and the hard slides and the fist fights at second base. And the old heads, the guys that have been around baseball for 40 or 50 years, and that are in their late 60s and early 70s, and they think of baseball as a gentleman's game played by real men, tough men. They can't stand the fact that younger generations like fun baseball. And they like quick baseball.
Well, I was just going to say, but that you hit the nail on the head. What it is the people, the writers are all older people. So it's funny how the steroid era brought a lot of eyes to baseball, because you can't tell me that people were not watching McGwire and Sosa try to hit 70, try to break Roger Maris's record, watching Barry Bonds break the home run record, break Hank Aaron's record.
Same did though.
Yeah, you can't tell me that there were not more eyes on baseball during that time. And like you said, sooner or later, Pete Rose will get in, and so will Bonds and Sosa and McGwire and Clemens and all those guys, because they belong there. Those guys belong in the Hall of Fame, even though there are many people out there that don't think that they do. They do. You can't hide the fact that Barry Bonds leads all major league hitters in home runs. Sorry, he does. Did he cheat?
Yeah,
I guess he did, but
absolutely he cheated.
Guess what? Sooner or later, you're going to have to.
Bygones.
You can't.
And a compromise. I think there's a point. I think there's an absolute place where we could compromise here. You could put them in, and put an asterisk on their careers, and just put steroids. Nothing, no flashiness. You don't have to draw attention to it. You just put them in, and just put them in like anyone else, right? And have their display up like anybody else's. And then under their nameplate, just put an asterisk and put steroids. And then you let the people who want to say something, then the people who have a problem with it, they get what they want. Yes, they're going to the Hall of Fame, but we're putting an asterisk right next to it.
But in that case too, I mean, I've never been to Cooperstown myself, so I can't say. But
I don't know.
Add a wing to the thing and just make it the steroid.
No, I don't, because I don't think that you need to, because I think that puts too much emphasis on it, right? We want to downplay the fact that they cheated, right? That we're not. I think you create a mystique around trying to cheat and get away with it when you do that. When you're creating the secondary wing of the museum for a special cheaters Hall of Fame, if you will, where you put Sosa and Bonds and McGwire and Rose and all those guys into the special wing of the Hall of Fame, where you create this mystique of cheating. And so now, instead of doing the right thing and trying to play baseball the right way and get I cheated. I was doing, whatever illegal thing to get into, just because, I could get in, even though I cheated, I still made the Hall of Fame. and now I'm in the special wing of the Hall of Fame. It could have an unintended consequence of creating a cheaters Hall of Fame.
Right.
So I think the proper compromise here is you just put them in like anyone else would go in, and with the same amount of pageantry and pomp and circumstance as anyone else, and then you put an asterisk next to their name, steroids, and you move on, and you don't draw attention to it, and you don't point it out, and when you're doing the tour, if you're taking a guided tour, of course if they have them, I'm not sure, because the NASCAR Hall of Fame, I think they had guided tours, but they were extra, so I don't remember offhand. But when you're taking a tour and you just look, oh hey, there's Pete Rose, and he gambled on baseball. No, there's Tony Gwynn. And he had most hits and with fewest strikeouts or whatever. I can't remember his claim. That's what he was known for, is being a real steady Eddie kind of guy. So, I think that's the way you do it. You just put them in like anybody else, throw an asterisk next to their name, steroids, and we move on. We don't draw attention to it. We don't glamorize it. We don't make cheating. Because, and I think the other thing is that, I hate to say it, but I think everybody cheats.
Well, so I'll be honest with you, but I've been to a lot of college baseball games, and now instead of the communication between the pitcher and catcher is not fingers anymore. They wear watches, smart watches.
Do they have
and the pitches are called from the dugout. They're not called by the catcher. So the dugout, says okay, fastball, outside corner. You see the pitcher go like this. He goes like this. He looks, and he does this, and he looks, and the catcher gets it too. And they're like, yep, and then they throw the ball. Because I haven't seen that in the pros, but I'm assuming they'll have some kind of. I guess they can't use that technology because I guess the Astros or the Red Sox
have a wire
Apple Watch thing and whatever it is cheating or whatever. But it's like you said, it's interesting how, and we're gonna have the automated strike zone, I think, next year in Major League Baseball, sooner or later.
I can't wait.
They already have it in the minors. They're using it in the minor leagues as we speak. So, yeah.
Yeah, they do. They have some system in the pros. I don't remember exactly how it works, but the catcher wears an earpiece, and then he signals.
Right, you're right, but they wear something on their knee pads, and they push a button.
Yeah,
and
it's
it radios the pitcher what pitch he wants them to throw. I guess. I think that's how. Yeah,
it's something like that. It's like all the pitches your pitcher has, and then he calls ball and location. So off the digital thing that he has, and he just taps it, and then away we go.
Yeah, so I mean, I
love technology.
To keep away from what happened with the Astros in 2018, like that, where giving pitches, and obviously now you can only shift a certain way. You can't have so many players across second base. You have to have so many players on each side of the base. And obviously the pitch clock has made baseball faster. I mean, I'll have to admit, going to a college game, I think the college games are like an average of like 2.5 hours. They have a pitch clock. But it's nice to go to the game at, like I went on Tuesday night, guys, to see USF, and it was 6 o'clock, and the game was over like at 8:45. So it was nice because you get to drive home, and then of course the Major League Baseball, I think like the average game now is like 2.5 hours. So instead of it being
like it used to be,
it makes it nice not to have to be at the ballpark for 4 hours waiting. Oh, game isn't over until 11 o'clock. You're like, oh crap, I got to get up and go to work the next day. I got to go home.
Or having to take a day off.
Correct. Yeah, having to go, hey boss, I can't come in. Why? Well, I'm at the game and it's 1:00 in the morning. We're in extra innings and this game isn't over yet, and I got to be there by 3. Well, I'm not coming in. I'm not gonna go home and do.
Well, or just planning a schedule.
That happens. So yeah.
Or having a schedule. Having a schedule a Wednesday off because you're going to the game on Tuesday night. So having to take Wednesday off. So because the game ain't going to be over until 11 or 12 or 1 or 5, whatever it gets over. Right. You know, but I love the pitch clock. Pitch clock's great. You know, I like the improvements that baseball has made over the last couple of years to quicken pace of play.
The art of pitching, like meaning what I mean by that is throwing the ball 100 miles an hour. Location. That's going to go away because you're blowing out stars' arms, like Shane McClanahan, and Shane Bieber, and all these guys that are supposed to be Cy Young candidates are not pitching this year. Who's the pitcher you guys don't have right now that won the Cy Young last year in the American League?
Garrett Cole.
Yeah.
Garrett Cole. He's out too. He has elbow issues. So what I'm getting at is, you look back at like Greg Maddux, right? He never threw the ball 95. He just moved the ball. So they're going to have to start teaching these kids, hey, get movement. Work on your movement instead of throwing the ball. But I guess just like in football, right? In the NFL, it was a running game, right? We had Barry and Emmett and Jim Brown and all these great running backs. Well, now it's a passing league. Now we have Tom and Aaron and Pat and all these guys that are great quarterbacks. I think baseball is going to if this is even a word, re-evolutionize itself when it comes to pitching.
It's a word.
I think it's going to
revamp. I think it's the word you're looking for.
Okay, yeah.
Take a step back as far as pitching. You know what I mean? I mean, I could be wrong, and they could continue to do what they're doing now, but they're going to blow arms out. I mean, minor league kids are throwing, little league kids are throwing 80 miles an hour at 12 or 13. Your arm's going to be gone by your time you turn 20. You get in college, your arm's going to be gone. You know, so
that's scary. I haven't done a 20.
Wow. 22, 23. You know, when you make it.
Your career could be over at 23 years old. You get to the majors, and a year or two into the majors, you have to go through Tommy John surgery.
Yeah,
and you may never pitch the same as before. So,
well, I think that we got when Verlander burst out of the scene in the mid 2000s, he was throwing straight gas for 7 straight innings. Just absolutely cook a guy at 101. And you couldn't catch up to it. And because it was 101 with late movement at the plate. You just absolutely couldn't catch up with it. Oh, everybody went looking for those kind of guys. But Verlander was a freak in nature. Him and Clayton Kershaw and and those kind of, the flamethrowers, the fireball guys. They were 1 in 1,000 players that could throw hard like that consistently and throw and over innings and give you deep innings, give you 6, 7, 8 innings in a start, and then turn it over to your bullpen and let your bullpen come in and close it out. You go 7 innings of 2-run ball and gives your bullpen a shot to win it 30 times out of a year. Everybody wanted that guy. And so kids coming up, they, any kid that makes high school baseball wants to make the majors at some point, right? That's the goal. And so the way to make base, if you didn't have movement, have speed. And control is, if you can throw it down the middle at 101, I catch up to it. Good luck. If you hit it, you hit it, and then At best, you're going to follow it into the third row. And I'm just going to come back at you with a 101 again. And so late movement at the plate. And you're saying Greg Maddux. But Greg Maddux was a freak. Greg Maddux wasn't that. I would not expect some 18, 19, 15, 16, 17-year-old kid to be able to throw like Greg Maddux. Greg Maddux was a freak on the other end, where he didn't have a devastating fastball, but his off-speed stuff was lights out. He could pick a corner and he could throw a ball at 86 on the corner, and you couldn't do anything with it. You couldn't do anything with it because he was an absolute artist. And so the happy medium is guys like I think of Pedro Martinez. Good speed, good control, good plate discipline. That would be who 95, 96 on the gun, 6-7 innings, longevity over the course of 20 years. Now, that would be the kind of guy that I would be trying to teach kids how to throw like. And so, because I know, because Roger Clemens was another guy who had straight gas, which I think Roger Clemens is probably the first true fireball thrower. And because you can see, Nolan Ryan, Roger Clemens, Randy Johnson, Justin Verlander, as baseball has 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, 2000s, you see those guys creeping, but you're talking about one-off freak athletes. We're not talking about the average pitcher, and so I think that if you have the ability to throw 101, it's very tempting to just throw 101. Because control and the ability to pick the corner, whether inside, outside, upside, downside, that is a skill in and of itself. To be able to throw, but just being able to reach back and grab one and just let it rip, that don't take no skill. It just takes ability. So
Yeah.
Like I said, I'll kick and deliver 101 and if you can hit it. Good on you. But when you're trying to pick a corner and you miss by 3 inches and it's off the plate away, or you miss by 3 inches inside and you hit a guy and now he's got a free base, in control is the first thing to go. If I can throw gas, I can throw gas.
Well, I was talking about this, Bud, with my boss today, and he mentioned a pitch that hasn't been thrown for a long time, and we may never see it, is the knuckle pitch. I don't think you'll ever see
knuckleballs are hard.
Even though those, it's a slow pitch, but if it dances, you can't hit it. But if it doesn't dance, well, then it's bye-bye.
Going along
in a batting practice pitch out there to hit. But
yeah,
I saw in college earlier this year a sidearm thrower, which I haven't seen a sidearm guy
submarine
in a long time in the major league. So
they're easy
being brought back. I don't know.
That is submariners or sidearmers. That's just a skill. It's something you have to work on. And if you can do it, you can do it. But like I was saying, 99, 100, 101, 102, 105, 108. Speed kills.
Yep.
And if you can throw straight, if you can throw heat, you can throw straight gas. It doesn't matter where you put it. If they take a hack at it, then more power to them. But to be a sidearm guy, or to pick a corner, to be an artist like Maddux was, or Smoltz, that takes a tremendous amount of skill that you can't just ability. You can hit the gym and bulk up and put on 25 pounds of muscle and just reach back there and grab one and let it rip. And it's a lot easier to teach someone to throw hard than it is to throw with precision. And for sidearm guys or guys that don't have the hardest fastball, teaching them how to be precise consistently over the course of over multiple innings. It takes a very good pitching coach to be able to implement the fundamentals of throwing a consistent pitch that looks like a strike but ends up out of the zone.
Right.
And so when you're 19 years old and you're full of testosterone and piss and vinegar and all you want to do is go out there and strike people out, because and we've got, baseball has evolved over the last 5 or 10 years to true 3 outcome baseball: home run, walk, strikeout. And the art of pitching, where you have guys, because everybody thinks that Nolan Ryan should be emulated, but Nolan Ryan is a freak. Nolan Ryan is a lunatic. Nolan Ryan is a one-off. He is not someone that you can model your game after and be successful to the same level he was, because he was a lunatic. He was in an era of baseball where madmen were rewarded. And now with the way that, and because of the way that we understand how the body works in medicine and how functionality, where throwing 200 plus pitches in a game, going out there every time, on 3 nights rest, on 5 nights rest, isn't enough recovery time. And I think about it. I think about it a lot like baseball. Pitching is a lot like boxing. Pitching is a lot like boxing. You might throw 100 pitches in a game. You might throw 85 or 100 pitches in a game. Most of your pitches don't come in games. Like in boxing, most of your punishment doesn't come in a fight. It comes in the lead up to the fight. It's it's sparring, it's bag work, it's running, it's jump roping. 90% of the punishment you sustain, whether it be pitching or boxing, because I think they're pretty analogous, takes place in the gym, in practice.
Yeah.
And so
I agree with that. The funny thing is, when you're warming up, or even on your off days, pitchers, even on your off days, you're doing some kind of tossing. You're in the bullpen
section
or something. Right. Like if you say you come to your pitching coach and say, "Hey, I want to work on my curveball just isn't curving. What can we do?" You look at film.
You gotta throw.
Doing it correctly. Let's change the way you grip it, and then you work on gripping the ball differently. So yeah, it's just all. You're right. You take your licks when not on the mound. You take your licks leading up to your start. So yes, I agree.
Or your next appearance.
Correct. Because I know during the World Series, obviously, because there could be 4 games, you see
guys going on 3 days rest
come out of the bullpen. Like you don't see that during the regular season, but your starters are down in the bullpen throwing balls, and you see the manager go like this. Okay, here comes Justin Verlander in the 9th inning in a World Series game to get the final 3 outs. Here comes Roger Clemens. Here comes Randy Johnson out of the bullpen. You just didn't see that. You didn't see that kind of stuff during their era. Now you see that kind of kind of thing. So, you know, like you said, baseball has changed. Baseball has evolved, and I think if it continues to be the way it is, they're going to continue to throw hard. But I think it's going to come down to they're going to start teaching kids in high school, in like t-ball, high school, college, how to locate corners, how to go back. Because if you can do both, if you can throw gas and locate,
Pick a corner.
you're unhittable. Like that's unhittable at that point.
Yeah.
Like,
But-
yeah. I mean, look at the kid that the Oakland A's have right now. I think he's the bright spots for the A's. He's throwing. I think he throws like 108, 110, something like that.
Yeah.
But he can locate his fastball. So yeah, I mean, good luck trying to catch up to that.
That's a good miles per fastball. 110 miles an hour.
What do you have, like fractions of a second to determine if it's a fastball or a curveball? I mean, you have split
Milliseconds at that point.
to figure it out. Yeah.
I mean, I just sit dead red and just take a hat.
Yeah, just throw the bat out there and you go, oh, I got
Yeah.
contact. I found it.
Just try to poke. Just try to make contact, because if you make contact, it's probably going a long way.
Correct.
Yeah.
You try to turn that momentum back against it, and so, you know, like you said, the ability to locate. I understand. I don't necessarily disagree with what you're saying about kids blowing out their elbow at 22 or 20, and making their first major league start at 20 and blowing out their arm and never being the same. I totally agree. But I think on the other side of that is the idea that
I don't want to say hello.
picking a corner, being
I was trying to come in and say hello to that.
being a great pitcher, I think it's right up there playing quarterback into goaltending. I think it's such a hard skill set to manage, because pitchers, when you set the defense, actually that's really a catcher that sets the defense, but everything you have to deal with being a pitcher, checking, holding runners on, backing up first base, third base, backing up the plate, depending on where the catcher goes and where the play is. Everything that you have to deal with as a pitcher, and then pitching to home plate. It's such a hugely involved beast that being a great
I just got a
pitcher.
little guest here. This is my youngest niece, Starling.
Well, Colin.
Say hello, Uncle Bradley, Uncle Adam.
Hello.
Hi.
You guys know about this, so I thought I'd bring her in for a minute since she's here. How'd you do?
I did good.
What's good?
I got a hit.
Okay.
Did you win?
You know softball, so
Nice.
Did I keep score?
yeah. Did you guys score or no?
Yeah.
Did you win or lose?
We lost, but it was 14-11.
Hey, not bad.
Well, we'll get him next time.
Actual football score.
Hey, I'll be honest with you. I've watched enough fast pitch softball this year. I think it's so freaking cool to watch softball. I mean, the fact that they can throw that ball miles an hour underhand is amazing. I don't care what anyone says. Amazing.
The only thing, guys, here, she's 12, so
That's outstanding. I'm happy for her.
Yeah, have fun, man.
Truly, have fun at that age.
At that age, my buddy's got a son, and I think he's 9 or 10 now, and I preach.
For the record, you've met her brother as well.
Okay, cool.
That's Gavin's sister.
Okay, cool. Nice to meet you. Yeah, my buddy, he's got a son in baseball.
Yeah. I thought she was gonna come in for Mitch. I thought she'd come in. I try to get her here.
Yeah. We always love having guests on the
It's a
show.
family show, right? It's a family show.
Yeah, of course. For the most part.
So Lou, does she want to go to college, play softball in college? Is that what she wants to do?
Well, first let's see first let's get out of junior high first, then high school. Then we'll think about that.
Yeah,
I think
play
she
high
wants to go to
school.
other-
Play high school softball. Yeah,
She's
I
only
mean,
in sixth grade. She's only in
is
sixth
that
grade
something
now.
that she wants
Right.
to do moving?
She does, but I think she's more interested in the art world.
Arts are fun.
She can draw. She can draw. But she-
So can every other 12-year-old girl I know.
She's a good athlete, but I
Yeah.
think she's more into the art.
Yeah, that's cool. Never a shortage of artists around.
I mean, are we talking another Jeannie Finch? Probably not, but
Hey, you know. But
stayed on college softball. Okay.
you know, now my buddy, his son's 9 or 10 now, I think, and I harp on him to make sure that his kid enjoys it. At that age, 10, 10, 12,
Sure.
I more than anything, I think sports need to be fun. It's just you and me now. We've lost the Bradley.
But
Quick, look under the couch.
For 12. We're still running though. We're still running.
Yeah, we're still running.
But she's very mature for 12 years old. So
That's cool.
yeah.
But but I still think at 12, that it's more than anything is keeping the games fun and not getting caught up with
At that age, you have to.
that.
At that age, you have to.
They're not getting caught up with, in scores and stats, and there's plenty of
The funny thing was, when I was 12, I was interested in stats.
yeah. No, same. When I was 12, I love stats. And not that I don't love stats now, but when I was 12 and 13, and even when I was even younger than that, 10, when I first started getting really into sports and really understanding what was going on.
Right.
I remember the first time I was ever allowed to stay up past my bedtime was Game 4 of the 1997 Stanley Cup Final, Detroit and Philly, and we won. And Mom tried to get me to go to bed. I thought, I'm not going to bed for this. I was 5. I was like, I'm not going to bed.
Okay.
No, I was
20.
I was snoozing. I was snoozing through commercial breaks, but I wasn't going to bed. No way.
No.
Like, you're asleep. I'm like, I am not asleep. Leave me alone, woman. But no.
Yeah, well, come on, we're winning history here. Come on, it's for the Stanley
Yeah,
Cup.
absolutely. For 42 years, man. We haven't won one in 42 years. I wanted to be there for that.
At that point, yeah, prior to that point.
Yeah. Yep. Hadn't won in 42 years. There was no way on God's green earth I was going to bed before we won it all.
I mean, the Rangers won that night. I'm not missing this game for anything. No way. 54 years.
Right.
We had family and friends over that night. They weren't even into hockey, but they knew I was. So we were glued to the set. And even though you weren't there in person, if you were one, you felt you were there.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Oh yeah, absolutely.
I mean, even we had a well, I can't say a big screen TV, but big enough, and it was like even you were at the game, it was like you got a front row seat, like you were there, you were just like right in the center of it. And when
Absolutely.
We all went nuts. I called my cousins and everything. And, hello, you reached house of the New York Rangers residents. Like, we got it.
Yeah, no, that was when
this year maybe another chance to get it. I know everybody's thinking, well,
Yeah.
they won the President's Cup, so like, nah, you're not gonna have a chance anyway. I mean, because nobody ever wins the Stanley Cup from the President's Cup. Like, shut up, okay? Shut up. First of all.
Yeah. Well, you swept the Cats, so step 1 is done.
115 points on the year. We swept through the first round, namely the Bruins. Sorry, Steve, but not the Bruins. The Capitals. I know people are Capital haters.
Yeah. I've never had a problem with the Capitals. I guess it's probably because I don't live in the Beltway area, so I don't have any.
Yeah.
I don't have anything against the Capitals.
Yeah, but of course, my dream conference matchup is still intact.
Who do you want in the finals?
You mean the conference finals or the finals?
Yeah. Well, both.
I want a rematch of '94. I want Rangers Vancouver.
Yeah, that'd be fun. Vancouver's going to be a tough out.
For the conference finals, I want Rangers Bruins for personal reasons.
Okay, that'd be fun. Yep. New York and Boston.
Yeah, but I have a little side thing with a friend of mine who lives in Boston. I mean, she's
I
not
gotcha.
a sports fan, but she loves the Bruins. For what reason I have no idea. I mean, she's not big on a lot of sports, but when it comes to hockey, she is a fan, and she loves the Bruins. Like, oh, this is gonna be fun. This is gonna be so much fun.
Yeah, they got it. Did they play the Leafs today?
The Leafs are playing now.
What's the score?
In fact, let me check that score and see if it's still on.
Yeah, because they got Boston.
I know, but the game starts. Okay, let me see here. Bruins, Toronto. We're in commercial break. Thanks a lot, jerk.
Go figure.
Part 2.
The best time for a commercial break when I want to look in.
Hold it. We're going back now. No, we're not. I hate when
Any second now. Oh yeah, it's the worst.
I'll check on my ESPN page. What do you think?
Well, I hate when you're trying to watch 2 games at once, and like one game will go to commercial. So, oh, cool! I'm gonna go see what's going on in the other games. Get flip it to the other game, and they're at commercial too.
Well, you know what we say about that.
Go figure.
You suck. Okay. 1-0 into the Leafs are leading.
Yeah, looks like they're gonna push it to 7, eh?
Okay, again.
Yeah.
Or is this first round going a little bit longer than I expected, though? That's what I want to know.
I don't know. I didn't expect Boston to get to a 3-1 lead. I mean,
No, but is
it's Game 5.
for some reason this series seems to be going longer the first round than I think most of us expected.
Well, I think the problem is that the Rangers swept the Capitals like boom, 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 and done.
Right.
And so the other series seem to be taking forever.
Yeah. Then again, they do have breaks in between games and stuff, and you can't start a series until everything's done, of course. But
Well, and the Avs knocked the Avs were done in 5, and the Rangers were done in 4. So now you guys are sitting on the sideline waiting for everybody else to finish up.
Yeah. Well, can we get this over before July?
July? We're shooting for mid-August.
Yeah. But then again, during the COVID year, we did play in August.
When we did. And it was glorious.
Well, it started late July, went to late September. Just when the season ended when preseason usually starts.
Yeah. Yep. That was a wacky year.
Well, I'm pretty wacky myself, so I guess you should join the club.
Right? Yeah, jacket, the funny little hat stick on.
Yeah. And of course, wacky. Saturday should be a very wacky show for several reasons. I mean, yeah, well, we're gonna cover the playoffs and stuff. We're gonna have a Derby preview, so I'll get predictions in from Derby from all you Derby lovers out there, even you non-Derby lovers. Of course,
I think a horse is gonna win.
Playoffs, MLB, UFC, and WWE. We'll cover the other football league. I won't mention it by its name. You could if you want, but I'm not going to mention it. Yeah, of course, right? Right. Major League Baseball. Of course, we got the monthly schedule and standings because May and June. I think the whole summer is going to be pretty big. So because we got a lot of events going on for the next 3 months. Oh boy, might be a busy summer here. We'll also, of course, have the ridiculous sign of the week. I think I came up with one from yesterday, and if you're a baseball fan, you might know why.
Nah, I didn't hear. What I miss?
Well, something did happen in baseball just recently, and it's kind of ridiculous. So if you listen in on Saturday, you'll get the idea. Of course, we'll also have sports trivia, the feel-good story of the week, and yeah, I think about covers it. And of course, maybe a little bonus into it because it involves around a very certain day on this show. So Saturday, 4 to 6 p.m. Eastern Time. Number is 512-543-4662. I'll repeat that again, 512-543-4662, because I think you know what Saturday's date is. Don't you, Adam?
It's May 10th. No,
No.
May 4th. Oh, May the 4th be with you.
May the 4th be with you. Yes. You had it.
A little slow on the uptake today. Yeah, of course. No, that's cool. No, yeah, of course.
I even put it on my website.
There you go. Right on. Yeah, of course.
Some may get it, some may not. But my significant other did.
Yes. Well, I'm the right kind of nerd for that, so.
And she's not even a Star Wars fan, but she got it.
Yeah. No, I'm a huge Star Wars fan from back in the day. When I was younger, when I wore a younger man's clothes, I was a voracious Star Wars reader. This would have been mid 2000s before Disney bought it.
Yeah.
And so the last movie came out in 2005, and I was 13. I was 13 when the last movie came out, and I had finally gotten good at reading and was allowed to pick out my own books and read those. And the first books I went for were Star Wars, and I devoured that. I read every single page. Good stuff, man.
I had all the Star Wars. I had Star Wars action figures. I even had a Star Wars bedsheet pillows.
Oh, okay. I think I had.
Come on.
Yeah, of course. I didn't have Star Wars. I had Ninja Turtles. I had the Ninja Turtle sheet.
Well, you know what my fascination with Star Wars was to start with, though. You'll never get this. Now, I was too young to see when it originally came out. I mean, I was only 7 years old.
Okay.
But my fascination with Star Wars actually started in a hospital.
Really?
I was in a hospital for an operation. For several years, but when I was in particular, this young boy had Star Wars figures, and I'm like, this is great. I want to get my hands on this stuff too. So I started collecting Star Wars from that. Of course, this kid has no recollection of it now, but that's how I got started with my Star Wars fascination, and then saw the movie back in 1981.
Okay. Yeah, my dad. So my dad was born in '69. The first movie came out.
And then I had the Empire Strikes Back book and everything, and so my whole.
Oh, okay.
I even had the I think it was called the Tower of Doom or one of those sets that came with it. I had one of those.
Okay.
Yeah.
So my dad, he was born in '69. So when the first movie came out, he went like opening day. He'd seen all the ads, right? And so he was totally geeked for it. And he told me that he went a couple of times to see it because '77. Obviously, you know this, but maybe me, a couple of people in our audience. But back in that time, if you wanted to see a movie, you saw it in the theaters because there wasn't home movies at the time, right? So he saw it a couple of times in theaters, and he was telling me that back in Christmas of '77, he got the infamous Kenner empty box set. He had the empty box set with the write-in for all the action figures, and of course, this was 30 years later. He was telling me about it, but he's like, if I'd have known then what I know now, I would have never even opened it. I would have boxed it up and put it in a closet. And
these days, you can stream it even right when the movie comes out. They of course it's
pretty much, yeah.
Yeah.
Right,
but, the video revolution really didn't start until I think 1972, to be honest, because that's when the first video game came out.
Well, the home entertainment console. No, it's when Pong, because
Yeah,
it was I don't remember what the first VHS was now offhand,
don't go there.
but the Top Gun?
Mm.
I can't remember what the first home was, because there was, I want to say it was Top Gun, but I can't remember now. But
Yeah.
but before, it might have been Back to the Future, but it was like the mid '80s when home movies, movies in your home really started to take off. Watching a movie in the theaters, right? You go see your movie, you pay your money to see a movie in the theater, and then 6 months or a year later, you can have it in your own home and watch it as many times as you want.
Yep.
And
Well,
I remember the first, and this would have been 96 or 97, the first ever movies we rented from the video store on VHS
yeah.
were the first 3 Star Wars and Slapshot.
Oh, great movie.
And
The Hanson brothers. Yeah.
it was a hockey movie. And yeah, it's a hockey movie. Come on. They put it on, and they turned it off. I would have been like 5 or 6. And yeah, go ahead. They put it on, and they're like, "Oh, I forgot what movie this was." Like, you don't need to be watching that yet. So they took it out. We went on to other.
Slapshot was no Miracle on Ice. Okay, we'll put it that way.
It was not appropriate for a 6-year-old.
No. I'll tell you what was the worst hockey movie ever, though.
Okay.
The Cutting Edge. All right, maybe it's not much of a hockey movie, but it involved a hockey player involved with a figure skater. What a sappy movie that was.
I like the one. It's what is the name of it? I think it's Jean-Claude Van Damme, and he plays. It's Bloodsport. Okay. Yep. And that's the one. That's the one where he's an FBI agent or a Secret Service agent, and he's got to save the president or something.
Secret Service.
Is that right? I remember that right. That's a good movie.
Yeah. Of course.
And then
we make a joke, but we call it Jean-Claude Van Damme. But
yeah. And then Youngblood. Youngblood is a good movie too.
Yeah.
That was my mom's favorite hockey movie. Youngblood. Youngblood.
Right. Oh, your parents as old as I am. Sheesh.
Yeah, they are. You were born in 70, 71?
70.
Yeah, my mom was born in 70. Yep.
Oh. And your dad was born in 69.
Yep.
Yeah. So my cousin was born in 69. So
Okay.
yeah. And
yeah, mom was.
Yeah. Well, I share the same birthday with Steven Tyler, Diana Ross,
Okay.
and Vulcan.
Huh. I share I share the same birthday as Babe Ruth.
No kidding.
No kidding. 97 years apart.
Yeah, but how would you feel if you had the same birthday as Mr. Spock? Oh boy.
I wasn't a Star Trek guy, so.
Well, you sure heard what the doctor said to my parents when I was born.
See, my dad's dad. He was into Star Trek. He's a big Star Trek nerd. And I was like, he had it on at the house one night. They were over hanging out, and they had it on. And I was like, what is this? This is stupid. I just seen Star Wars like a couple weeks or a couple months before that, and Star Wars was just, I'm like 5 years. Maybe I don't understand. I'm 5 years old, maybe 4, 5, 6, somewhere in there. And Star Wars was mind blowing. This is so cool. And then this
we
Star.
had another space television series that was, well, I can't say it was like in the same direction of Star Trek, but maybe somewhat similar. It's called Space 1999. It was, you wouldn't know
Okay.
it, but it was.
No, I don't. I've never heard of that.
No, it's a cult favorite from the 70s, and the young
Okay.
people were into
Okay, fair enough.
Even me. And the series was filmed in London.
Okay.
It was trying to be like a 70s version of Star Trek or whatnot, and they had Martin Landau, and it was from Mission Impossible.
Oh, okay. Okay, yeah. From the original Mission Impossible.
Yes, because I get about the lunchbox from school. Like, yeah.
Oh, cool. Yeah. I get that.
Yeah, we had.
Oh, yeah,
we had
no.
lunchbox for that.
Yeah, I wasn't. No, I.
It wasn't really a popular series, but it's cult status.
When you like a show, you like a show. I mean.
Yeah. Popular among young people, adults couldn't get it.
Yeah.
You get the idea?
I totally understand.
Yeah. I mean, if you ask my girlfriend, forget it. She's like, "What's that?"
Yeah. I was thinking Battlestar. That was the first one you said.
Yeah. Well, she doesn't get a lot. She doesn't get Fire Country either.
Yeah, I've always been a big sci-fi and fantasy guy.
But that's a can't miss show for me on Friday nights. Fire Country. I can't miss that.
Okay. Is that any good? You like that?
But the woman on the show, oh my goodness. Oh wow. Yeah. I guess we should wrap it up. And,
yeah, we can.
I'm gonna put the scores in. I'm gonna see if Boston's gonna be the choke signal. Oh boy. Yeah.
Well, they get a shot to win it, to finish it out. Is it Saturday night?
That's how you do it.
Yeah.
I know. Yeah, okay, close enough. And of course, I put in big bold capital letters: CHOKE, choke.
I think it was Homer.
Well, yeah. Right, of course, Bart Simpson.
Yes.
All right, so that's gonna wrap up for this edition. I'll be back next week, and of course, like I said, May the 4th.
Same bat.
And of course, back next week, same bad time, same bad channel. And
Same bad channel.
If you're going to show on Saturday at 4 o'clock Eastern Time. Good night, everybody.
All right. Good night and good luck.
Thank you, Rodon.
Thank you very much.